Hello, Reds from around the world. Welcome to All for United. I am your host, Joe O'Neill, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined here again by the wonderful Reds you see around me. I think that way. I think that sort of rhymed or sort of worked in some way. We've discovered that over the last few weeks who everyone is in their real life. We found out that Mark is Boy George, that James is Buddy Holly, and that Noah is Jimmy Carr. So if anyone else has any insights about who the remaining members of our team look like, get into it. Be as harsh and as accurate as you want to be. I look like the Oklahoma City Bomber. If anyone wants to Google that, it's a dead cert on. I'm playing him in the biopic. It's happening. Yay. So thanks for everyone who's joined us in the comments so far. We've got Jacob, who was here from 8:20 until 8:45 before the show started, getting his 2 cents in. So thanks a lot, Jacob. I hope you come back very soon, I guess, or else you're gone to bed. And Stuart and Jamie in the comments now. Keep your thoughts coming in, folks. We're going to be here for the next hour or so, talking about everything that happened today in our epic 0-0 draw. So we're going to get stuck in straight away. And also, guys, please help us get to 20 likes. If you don't get the 20 likes, Ben will throw me out of a 5th floor window. He promised me this week. Okay, so we're going to get straight into it, guys, and we're going to go to the person directly to my this way, left. The one from Mark Bridges. Mark, your thought on Bridges? How do you say your second name?
Biggs.
That's not it. I wasn't even close. I literally wasn't close at all.
Third time lucky. You've said that a few times on a few shows. Yeah.
It's a confusing one. I won't lie. There's a lot of B's and G's and S's in there.
And no R's.
And
it definitely says Biggs.
There's one B, there's one S, there's one I, no R's and 2 G's. Quite simple, sunshine.
I'm just saying it would be better if you were Bridges for everyone, okay? Mark, I'm just going to stick with Mark from now on. What are your thoughts on today's 0-0 draw?
Yeah, I'm obviously happy. You know, we needed to. It was up to Liverpool to win today. We got a draw, 0-0. I think basically the lapses for both teams was the front three. I think we defended excellently. And fundamentally, we're going to stay on top for a bit longer. And that's what we want at the end of the day. I thought Pogba was very good, actually. He wasn't fantastic, but I don't think that was his fault. I think starting him in the right-hand side wasn't what he needed, and he ended up coming back and almost playing as a right-back, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka tucking in. I thought Martial was pretty poor. He did a good run at one point, I think, halfway through the first half, but other than that, he was a little bit lackluster for me, and I think Cavani starting over him, which I said many times this week, would have been better. I know, again, as I say, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but I still stand by that. Luke Shaw was absolutely phenomenal today, and I think he's proving from time and time again that he is our number one. He's been far better going forward. Statistically was brilliant today, and I actually rate Tellez. I think he's a pretty good player. We've not seen the best of him yet, and he's keeping him out, so that says a lot. He was outstanding, and again, it proved a lot of points about Lindelof. I was surprised that he was included, but he came in and he was better than Harry. I thought Harry was good, but for the first 20 minutes he looked a little bit shaky, and Lindelof was phenomenal, I think, too, so he needs a lot of credit there. So yeah, fundamentally we drew, point taken. Disappointed we didn't take our chances, because I think we had the best chances, but we move on to the next game.
Yeah, absolutely. Oliver, your first time back in Walla Reds after your Wi-Fi malfunctions you've had for the past 800 years, what it seems like.
Yeah, it was quite a while, Jeff.
Yeah, so give us your thoughts on today.
Well, I think the fact that it seems to be quite a common theme that people are disappointed that we didn't get 3 points today. I think that in itself shows progression. I think it was very well set up today. If we lose that game 1-0, then was it a bad decision not to make the subs? But for me, I think it's quite a calm sort of feel for it on Twitter. I think everyone sees that we had a great performance today. The defence was fantastic. Luke Shaw was immense, which we haven't seen for a while. And I think Rashford up top on his own would he have been better on the left? Because Martial's contributions weren't great. I think, it was set up Pogba on the right, Bruno. Everyone was trying to feed Rashford. Maybe we could have had another creator on the left, maybe Van der Beek. But I mean, we're all sat here thinking, yeah, we may have got 3 points. Is it 2 points dropped? But for me, was it a bad selection? I'm not sure. I think the team he put out was there to do a job, and for a few inches either side on a couple of passes in the first half, we could have been in numerous times. It was a bit annoying that Rashford kept being offside, but then again, it was a few delayed passes if you actually watch it back. So I think all in all, great performance, and I think we could take that we have progressed. We're top of the table. We are still top of the table, and we've just played Liverpool. So for me, I think you've got to take your positives from that.
Yep, like Oliver said, we're definitely going to win the league. Carl, by your head shake, I can see you're in complete agreement.
Yeah, we are winning the league, mate.
Yeah, 100%. Jimmy, Noah, for yourself, looking through your wonderful young eyes, are you disappointed? Are you happy with today's performance and with the result?
Right, I'll split this into two halves. I'll tell you what my head is thinking, and I'll tell you what my heart is thinking. My head is saying that it's 1 point gained, and a very good point compared to where we would have been, 12 months ago, or even just 6 months ago at the start of the season coming into this game. If you would have said to me, United will keep a clean sheet at Anfield and we'll take a point away from Liverpool, I would have snapped your hand off. And some of the performances from some of the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer picked, that a lot of people weren't happy with at the start of the game, i.e. Lindelof. He proved me wrong. I thought Bailly, has played so well in past games with Harry Maguire. They complement each other so well. Obviously Bailly has his pace and strength, and then Maguire has his slow tempo, ball control, reading the play kind of style for a centre back, and I feel like they really complement each other. But Lindelof was immense, and I don't usually say that about him because I think him and Maguire are a bit too similar. I think he's a bit quicker than Maguire, but they're two very similar players in the sense that they like to play the ball out from the back.
I've seen Milk turn quicker than Maguire.
Yeah. Well,
That's being tweeted, Mark.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But, I thought all the defense was good apart from Wan-Bissaka. We'll get onto that maybe a little bit later. But, the rest of the defense was great. Luke Shaw, I think the competition that Alex Telles has added to Luke Shaw's game has been great. It's really made him work harder, a lot harder off the ball rather than on the ball. Because we all know, like, the runs he makes and, like, the crosses he put into the box are superb. But his defensive awareness today, I think, was superb. So that was good to see. And 1 point gain, but my heart, because I know where Manchester United could and really should be. I think it was 2 points dropped. Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, and Paul Pogba, our three main players, all missed big chances. And and if you think about it, this Liverpool team, we're never going to get an easier Liverpool team like today. I think Jordan Henderson at centre back. Fabinho is a really good player, but he's really a CDM. I think, him being a good player makes him a good centre-back compared to like someone who's like a more natural centre-back like Joe Gomez and Van Dijk. I think Trent was very off the pace today, especially in the final 10 minutes. He was giving the ball away constantly. There was one instance when he just gave us a free corner, and I was like, that's a bit strange. I think that, they were playing Shaqiri in the middle, which, he was just like, we should have been taking advantage of this, and we had big chances to take advantage of it and secure the full 3 points. And especially with how the table looks now, we are top, but Manchester City have a game in hand on us. And, if they win their game in hand, then they go above us. So in my opinion, it's kind of like, United and Liverpool didn't really gain anything, but City did. And
it's 2 games in hand, not 6 points guaranteed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I know that's completely fair point. We got what your head thinks, we got your heart thinks. Do your feet and your hands have opinion, or your kneecaps possibly?
Not at the minute, no.
Not a minute. It's a long show. It's a long show.
Yes, exactly. Maybe later.
Carl, Carl, for yourself, going into this, I don't know what your thoughts were. Were you pessimistic? Were you hoping for? Would you have taken this beforehand, even considering the performance, or are you happy with the result?
Yeah, no, listen, I think before the game, I mean, anyone would have taken a point at Anfield, considering how good they've been over the last couple of years. But when you really think about it, like, I was desperate to win this game just because, well, who wasn't? Do you know what I mean? If you're a Man United fan, then you should be desperate to win this game. But the thing is, like, at the end of the day, right, we probably had the better chances. I can't really remember De Gea making any sort of significant saves. He had one for the cameras, but from who was it from now? Shaqiri, maybe? Can't remember.
Oh, Thiago.
Thiago. So, listen, look, I think we definitely had the most clear-cut chances. Yes, they had the ball a lot more than us, and they used the ball a lot better than us. But there's only a rare occasion where we actually use the football properly anyway. But listen, at the end of the day, like, it's a point. Obviously, it's a point game. We've been there the last couple of years and been whacked about and completely played off the park. So to come away with a point and the clear-cut chances, there's a lot of positives from that you can take from that. Going from Luke Shaw, Paul Pogba again, absolutely brilliant. Obviously, like Mark said, Martial getting a little bit off the pace, but that might be down to his injury. Obviously, the Lindelof thing, obviously I was one of them that was tweeting, going, "Oh my God, Lindelof's back in." But you can't fault the guy. He played really well. Yeah. The only thing that does worry me with Lindelof Maguire is you can see how much deeper we play with Lindelof in the team, just because there's no one to cover that space in behind, hence why we drop so deep. And I think we play better football with Bailly in the team just because he's got the pace to cover. But apart from that, mate, and maybe the exclusion of good old Edison Cavani, I think an all-round good day at the office for Ollie.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering, like you were saying, we haven't had a good game there in the longest time. Not since Juan Mata's incredible overhead kick, but the last time we really went there and even did anything. So for that sake, it's definitely for me anyway. I agree. James, for yourself, there you are. How are you feeling post-match?
It's one of them, isn't it? It's not a bad result, but given the balance of play, I think we've got every right to be a little bit frustrated. I think, you look at stats blindly and it will tell you that Liverpool played us off the park, but they had a lot of possession sort of on the halfway line. There was not much real, penetrative play taking place from their part. You see they had nearly 20 shots. Way over half of those are from outside the area, 30 yards or so. And, like a lot of people have said before, De Gea didn't need to make any real saves. There was that Thiago shot, which was basically straight at him, which he made look a little bit flashy, probably because he was a bit bored. But, we created two chances that half of the goalkeepers in the Premier League wouldn't have saved, would they? I mean, well, the Pogba one was straight at Alisson, but it still took good reflexes to get into the right position. And then Bruno's one, he does well to get down to it. So, that's what you get when you pay £60 million for a goalkeeper. You get quality. So I think if we look in terms of actual chances created, then we can be pretty proud of ourselves that we probably deserve to come out of that game better off. Which you look at when we played them last year and lost 2-0. That wasn't something you'd ever really thought you'd say in the near future, would it? That we'd come away from Anfield disappointed that we hadn't won. So I'm pleased. I'm frustrated that we didn't make the most of their makeshift team, but it's a makeshift team filled in with world-class players, isn't it? It's not like we're playing, Burnley and they've brought in their third choice central defensive midfielder to play centre back. Jordan Henderson's brilliant defensively, so he can slot right in there. And as we were saying, Fabinho doubles up as probably one of the best centre backs in the world on his day. He's for whatever reason he's incredible back there. So, I think we did ourselves proud. Really, I think Ole will be happy with the performance. I'd say I think we could have maybe gone for the next a little bit more. We did look a little bit poor going forward at times. Just a bit of decision making. McTominay and Fred really struggling with their distribution. That I think that hindered us a little bit as well. When there was a couple of counter attacks on and they couldn't find that killer pass. I think Bruno and Pogba, they were both all right, but Pogba was probably better than Bruno and he was more influential. But Bruno's decision making sort of letting him down again. But generally speaking, I'll probably repeating myself here, but any team coming away from Anfield going, I'm not sure I wouldn't win that is it's a positive, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we forget Jordan Henderson is somehow player of the year last season, and it's not like they had a makeshift defence for just this game. They have been playing together in that position for the last few games, so they weren't exactly thrown together. They're somewhat used to each other. But Kai, see us out on what are your thoughts on the game today? And are you happy with the 0-0, or do you think we should have got more?
I think after assessing it for a while, you have to be okay with the result. Because context is key. The last time we were playing Liverpool in this situation a year ago, it was for us to, to not look stupid. And then this year was for us to have more than pride, to sit at the top of the table and to show that we have the mentality to go on for the title. And I think the one thing that impressed me was there is a shift over this season at how we approach games, especially even like this. I mean, even against City, we did try to push them. We did try to combine and not actually really look second best for the whole game. And you see today with the 2 chances that we ended up creating and the sort of momentum that we tried to build in the second half, it's a little bit of a mentality shift to the old United team who basically would just regress as the game goes on, and 0-0 versus Liverpool, knowing that they're better, knowing that they attack better, we would always regress. And this time you can actually see that there wasn't any regression. We were still confident in how we ended the match. And for me, that's what I'm taking from this specific game, just that that level of comfort that our players seem to almost have to say, okay, we are playing, we belong here in this game, to say, because it's very very obvious that the last few years, anytime we play a big team, even when it's 0-0, when it's getting to the last bits of the game, it's all us being nervous, it's all hands to the pump. So I think that was something that impressed me a lot. But I do have this deepening need to see more control in games, especially in the midfield. If you look at the amount of times which Fred tried to nibble Thiago and got left eating something, it was actually incredible. And I don't know when we're going to get that type of player at United who sits DM, is good in all facets and can pass a ball. I think we really struggle. We just need a younger Matic, to be honest, and that's what I saw in that game. Because we weren't. I mean, only the first 20 minutes we got overrun, but as the game went on, you just needed a young Matic. You just needed somebody who was in there, who was just controlling that whole midfield. And it's really tough to see Fred. And I think Scott is actually doing way better at keeping the ball now. His body shape is changed so much in terms of where he goes with the ball. But Fred is just, sometimes you just want to, he does so many good things, and I know what he should be good at. But at some stages, I just want a triangle pass. I just need a pass around the corner. I just need him to relieve some pressure. And I feel like we don't do that enough. We invite pressure onto ourselves by just silly passes. The weight of the pass wrong, direction of the pass wrong. It's all a little bit of a problem for me, that midfield. So I think we needed to sort that out, and I think that was the least impressive thing about today. We invited pressure because of the way that we played with the ball. We didn't play with it properly. We didn't keep the ball properly.
I think Ollie set up to match the energy. And with that, Scott and Fred are probably the best 2 for that. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, of course.
You play, and we've spoken about this so many times, that Scott without Fred is not good. And even today, his passing was very much to the side or behind him, and you need that progressive passing, and Scott doesn't provide that. And it's very difficult, isn't it? Because Ollie is go-to double pivot, which really we want to get out the habit of, is Scott and Fred. That he wanted to do that to match the energy, but with that comes a lack of passing.
The problem with that is what I found is when we got to about 60, 70 minutes, there wasn't really a need for energy anymore. And what I still find at United is Liverpool could not start with Thiago, play still their high energy football, but still bring him on, and he'll offer a totally different dimension. So Thiago will be able to play in the press. He'll be able to play with the ball at his feet. And this is funny because this is something which someone like Pogba should be able to do, or whatever. But the way the team is just built around him doesn't allow for, the moment that you put Pogba in, then you don't have Scott and Fred, then you don't have energy. Then it's all like this
Yeah.
And I just want one guy. I mean,
you want
just
one guy that
to
has
sit.
it all,
Just
and you have to.
You want a specialist.
Yeah, I know. I've been saying it for a long time that that's the position we should have focused on in the summer, and we're not going to get anyone in January. That should have been the main focus, was to get a holding DM. But my thoughts on the game was, I think it's good that we're all frustrated. First of all, I think that's the best we can hope for from a game we didn't lose at Anfield. Like, they haven't lost there in 68 games now. They've been electric for the majority of that. So for the fact that we can come out of that game going, we should have won that game, shows progress more than anything else, which I am happy about. I'm still annoyed at the moment that we didn't finish them off, because it would have been just fucking perfect. I love that we stopped Arsenal getting the 50 games. It would have been amazing to be the team to stop Liverpool from just continuing their winning run there, or at least undefeated run at Anfield. But we didn't get that. But then if you look at the season we're in now, we are frustrated that we didn't beat Liverpool at Anfield in the same season we lost 6-1 to Spurs. So this season has just been fucking mental, but we're top of the fucking table. So it's going mental in the right way for us. So long may it continue. But
Ultimately,
the way
I'm sure that a lot of Ollie outers probably had to delete their drafts after the game.
And you love to see it. You love to see it.
If you look at progression, 2 years ago, I said this earlier, we probably would have lost that 2-0. And to go to Anfield when they've got a fantastic record is a real positive for me. And if you can't see that as progression, I can't help you.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. But to
I
get
think
in
Liverpool
more,
generally scared. Yeah. Sorry.
Liverpool weren't great at all, and like that's amazing to see as well. That Liverpool are kind of falling off a little bit, and you just love it.
They
I just love
respected us. They respected us, though.
I think they feared us a bit too, which is great.
Yeah.
But we're going to look a bit more specific. We're going to look break the team up into two halves, because it was basically defense and attack. That's all we were. We had basically, 6 defenders, and then the rest were going forward, or 7 defenders including De Gea, and then the rest were just going forward. So we'll look at the defense now, across the back 4, and then with McTominay and Fred in front of them, including De Gea. How did we feel? I feel across the board, I think Wan-Bissaka wasn't amazing, but across the board I thought we were very, 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 very up for it. We'll start with you, Mark. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think David De Gea was troubled too much, and when he was and called upon, he did absolutely fine. I completely agree with you. I think I was talking to some other people today. I think we need some competition for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think we've spoken about this before, and I'm sure everyone has seen that too. He was tucking in too much again for me today, and Paul shouldn't have started on the right, but it meant that he had to come back a little bit more. And I know he had defensive duties to do, but I feel that he would have been able to obtain that ball further forward and get out a little bit quicker. Because he did receive the ball a few times, and that was a problem for me. Lindelof, Maguire were good. Luke Shaw, wonderful. And yeah, McTominay. Obviously, McTominay and Fred played okay. I do like them as a pairing, but McTominay plays the ball too far back for me, and that's a big problem. Too many times sideways, too many times behind, and that's not good enough. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, on the whole, defensively, I thought we were brilliant. Just a couple of stats for you on Luke. And thanks, James, for finding this for me. I did see it earlier, but I could not find it for love nor money. 100% long pass accuracy, 100% tackles won, 81% pass accuracy, 8 ball recoveries, 4 fouls suffered, 2 chances created, 1 big chance created, and obviously 1 clean sheet. I think he was phenomenal today.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone doing that whatsoever. And like you're saying there, Ollie, I'm going to go to you with this. We look at like Luke Shaw. Just looked like a nothing player, to be honest, for the last couple of years. He looked like he was just eventually going to go out the door with, whether it was Alex Telles or someone being brought in or Brandon Williams just usurping him. But if you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he needs that competition, because once Luke Shaw got the competition, he has just been insane for the last while. We haven't seen him this good since prior to his leg break against PSV. So, Ollie, how important do you think it is for someone to come in like under to give competition to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, or do you think it's just a blip?
Well, I think Wan-Bissaka, he is brilliant in his defensive duties, and I think, because he hasn't progressed, so much going forward, and I think obviously that's highlighted from Luke Shaw playing an absolute worldie today. I think this is probably the best I've seen Luke Shaw in a very long time. As you said, he was in the sort of Deadwood conversation. I mean, he's got to be the first name on the team sheet if he's fit now. You know, if we're going up against a good attack, he's solid. He goes forward. Wan-Bissaka, you know, it's not that long ago since we were having the conversation of Wan-Bissaka is going to get a lot better when he improves his attacking outlet. You've got to give him time. He is still young. I think he did a brilliant job. You know, I mean, it goes to show, obviously, how well Luke Shaw did when they swapped Salah and Mane. And for me, it's usually Wan-Bissaka. We know he's the locked door. You know, he puts Sterling in his pocket. Mane didn't really say a lot today. But the fact that Luke Shaw enforced that decision because there was no outlet from Salah. So I think we've still got to give Wan-Bissaka time. Yes, he might improve if you get competition in. And, you know, any good squad, if you going deep into, you know, the big competitions, you need quality players for a good squad. That's what we've all been yearning for as a fan base. So, yeah, I think maybe an older right back, like Kieran Trippier, would be a great shout. It's not going to displace him, but it will make him better. Like Tellez isn't demanding to come in and start. You know, he's more attacking.
Yeah.
And the same with Trippier. He's not the same sort of player. It's horses for courses. If you're playing, you know, a high line against a defensive team, you want a quick, brilliant tackling right back.
Yeah.
We have the best tackling right back in world football at the minute, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah,
but not the best positionally aware. That's the problem, I think.
Yeah,
that's inexperience, isn't it?
But on the Trippier thing, I have to put this in because it's the pun of the night. Brendan, thank you for this. Trippier is too much of a gamble, though. That's the wittiest man in the chat.
He's here all night.
He is here all night. And Jamie appreciated it. We all did, Brendan. Thank you very much. But now for yourself, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, is that starting to be a problem? And across the defence, how do you think we did?
Yeah, see, for tonight, I agree with a lot of what other people have been saying, Ollie and Mark. You know, I think Victor Lindelof and Luke Shaw in our defence was absolutely superb. And I'm really, really glad that Victor Lindelof tonight proved me wrong, because before the game, I put a tweet out saying, like, you know, for our biggest game of the season, do we really want to be like experimenting with the Maguire Lindelof thing again? I don't know. You know, it's been working so well with Bailly, but he proved me really wrong. And I'm happy to say that. I don't mind being proved wrong in a positive way. You know, he really helped us get the clean sheet. And the thing is as well, I really think that his aura and composure that he has, obviously he's been nicknamed the Iceman many times before. And I think that composure allowed players like Luke Shaw and Maguire to feel a bit more comfortable, which he doesn't do enough, because sometimes I feel like when he's playing alongside Maguire, he's, you know, his balance isn't right. He's kind of looking a bit sideways all the time and not really dealing with what's in front of him, and it kind of, you know, it's caused issues for Maguire and also De Gea, because he doesn't know what his centre-backs are going to do. But, you know, I thought they were great, Lindelof and Shaw, but Wan-Bissaka, I don't want to, like, criticise him, because I know obviously he is a young player. Ollie is the point you made was very good. Obviously, he does have a lot of time to develop, and I do agree. He does have a lot of time to develop. He's still a young player like Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's got a lot of good qualities that he brings to the team. I think, you know, I would have much rather had him, you know, than another right back like Dalot in this current position. But I do think we need competition, because the thing is for me with Wan-Bissaka is I don't think he's like a bad player. Obviously, there's some issues like his positional awareness that are getting exploited at the minute. And I'm sure with coaching and whatnot, like more thorough coaching that is needed, that can improve. But the thing is with me, I think with Aaron, is that he's too comfortable. And what I mean by that is he knows that even if he has a poor performance, rather, say, for example, when he's played Leipzig today and plenty of other games this season, he knows he's not going to get dropped, because Dalot's gone on loan to AC Milan, Ethan Laird's gone on loan to MK Dons, and there's no one else. And, you know, I think, you know, just seeing on the other flank what the competition of Alex Telles has done to Luke Shaw, it just reassures me that Ollie can get the same results with Aaron. And, you know, the thing is as well, I'd love to have an experienced right back like Trippier and someone who is completely different to Aaron, to give a different dynamic, because Trippier, as we know, obviously us English fans, sorry, not you, Joe.
Thank you.
But, we know the qualities that Trippier has. He's a really pacey attacking fullback. His crosses are immense, and that's something that I think that Aaron lacks greatly. And he would really help, having him and Shaw or him and Tellez when we're playing, teams like Burnley and the Sheffield United that sit back, to break them down and to get some more creativity in. So I think that'd be really great to see. But it would also drive Aaron to be better, because I've said this so many times. If Aaron sees Kieran Trippier on the bench and him playing well, then he's going to think, oh, if I'm not playing well, I'm not going to start. And I do feel like he's not one of those players that's just come to Manchester United to pick up a wage. He does want to play well. He wants to win the big trophies.
Yeah.
But he knows, oh, well, if I don't have a good game, then it's kind of annoying. But I'm still going to start next week, so it's all good. So
Yeah.
That's how I feel with it. I don't
say
know
on that, right? I understand totally what you're getting at, but I think you can see the sort of consummate professional that he is, and it sort of comes across that Ollie is confident that he's not of that mindset, that he's not going to slip into it. We've seen before Ollie saying that he shows up early to training. He's always the last one there. He's a young professional with his mind on the game. So it's one of those, you can be confident, that Brandon Williams can do a job if he's not fit. Other than that, he's going to try and iron out.
I agree. And I agree. It's just that I feel like, I don't think that he's not professional. I think he is a quality professional. I think he's a great player for us. I just feel like to have that incentive of a little bit of competition, which I think United should have in every position, would be great. And I think it would drive him forward a bit more, and he would be listening a bit more on like, oh, what are the final little tweaks I can do to improve my game to be
you could learn class here as well.
Top class right back.
We're gonna keep moving. Go on, Kai. Say yours.
No, I just wanted to say, sometimes we always look at it from, that point of view, but also being the only one in a position is also taxing. You must also remember, you're the only one that has to play. All the mistakes are magnified on you. There's hardly any subs for you. So even when you're really tired at the end of the game, the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to look at you to continue the game until it's 90 minutes. So I think also there is some things that come with, being the first choice guy, the only one. It's really obvious. But I do definitely agree that some competition is always welcome.
Well, competition is always good, always good. Karen, I'm going to come to you now. First of all, we're going to be basically covering the two kind of players that were mentioned the most here, Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Are you one who would like to bring in a right back to basically to keep Wan-Bissaka on his toes, and also on Lindelof? Were you surprised to see him start? And after the game he had today, is it going to be a struggle to try get Bailly back in, or would you like to stick with Lindelof, or would you like Bailly to come in? Would you like to turn on your mic?
You're on mute, man.
I'll do that, mate. It's not an issue. With the right back situation, I think we wouldn't be any worse off if we brought someone in. I see the chat talk about Max Aarons, like Trippier, and it needs to be someone that's good enough to come in and be a starter. You can't just. I'm not one for buying people to sit on the bench or buying someone as cover. If you're going to buy someone, you got to buy a starter, because that's where you get the competition for places, if that makes any sense. So it's got to be someone decent that comes in, like whether we do get a right back or not, or we wait around for Ethan Laird, like the chat's been saying now, like because if anyone that watches the academy or has kept tabs on Ethan Laird, mate, the guy is an absolute machine. He's class, mate. What a player Laird is. That's the other thing you got to be careful of as well, is hampering someone like Laird with the potential to be, Manchester United right back for years to come. So we just have to see how it goes. But I wouldn't be against bringing a right back. And the fact, again, it's with the Lindelof thing. Like I don't care who plays really, as long as they play well. Like put Bailly back in midweek. He has a good game, happy days. You stick with Lindelof, has a good game, you're quids in again, aren't you? So I'm not really bothered who plays. I just want to play well, and I want to see improvements in every position, if I'm honest, because we're in such a good position. The first time we've been sort of in a title race for 7 years, obviously post Fergie, which is great and crazy because we shouldn't really be there. This, we shouldn't really, should we? Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's sort of like tenure at the club, it's coming into the last year of his contract. Yes, there's been massive improvements, and I love that. Did anyone really think we'd be this close to the top of the league? No. And I think what we need to do now is just improve on top of that, and then hopefully Ole. Hopefully the board can see what Ollie's doing, and we can sort of build on that and not fuck him in the transfer window.
That's very unlike our club to do it.
It was like it with Mourinho, when we got to second or whatever. 20 odd points behind City or whatever, but we was in a position. We're really good at laying foundations and just completely knocking them down. So if we can keep building on what we've built on now, then but I just want, like I said, go back to the actual question. I'm not I don't care if Lindelof plays, mate, as long as he plays well.
Yeah, that's fair. And with the whole thing, I think we can be kind of honest here and put up your hands if you thought Ollie would still be in the job now. Yeah. Kai's the only one, and he's probably the only one in the entire Man United fan base. Yeah, because it's nothing to do with Ollie. It's nothing to do with Ollie. It's to do with the fact the same thing with Mourinho. The same thing happened to Ollie. Second season or the third transfer window, just given nothing to work with. And the fact that he's still in a job and fighting for the title shows how we should actually fund this manager and give him what he needs. And if not this transfer window, for definite in the summer.
Yeah, and this is what I don't get about fans who absolutely hate Ollie, by the way. Like, everyone's like, oh, shit, I can't see progression. He's not done anything. It's like, mate, fucking get. Can I swear? I've swore anyway.
Yeah, you swore anyway. Go for it.
Get to fuck, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone that just mugs the manager off. Like, even if it wasn't Ollie, do you know what I mean? If it was another manager and we're in the same position. Like, there'd always be something. It's just fucking infuriating. Like, he just scored a tap in the 99. That's how much knowledge, mate. These fans, mate, are the ones that are calling for Ollie out, right?
The thing is, criticism is absolutely fine. I've done it. I've said when we had a poor start to the season, he's on thin ice. He really needs to pull his finger out, okay? But the amount, and I said it earlier, the amount of hate that he gets is disgusting, and that's what you shouldn't do. And I absolutely agree with you, Carl. They can
swear, Mark.
Yeah, they can fuck off.
Yes.
I agree though as well. Just to quickly jump in, I agree with. And I was saying it, last week on McTominay, and people hating McTominay for like, he's not United DNA and all this kind of stuff. Surely you want to be a Man United fan because you love the club and you love the players that play for them, not because I've got an agenda and I'm going to stick by it and I'm going to run by it, even though it's abusive or not. Like, I seriously don't understand it. And like, even with the manager, like, some people just still saying, I don't think he's right for the job. And like, even when we're top, do one then. Go to Man City. I couldn't care less. Like, honestly, we don't need this kind of hate and abuse when we're like trying to climb and make progression, like serious progression towards the top. And it's a really good point you made, Carl, that like he's done this without being backed in the summer. Yeah. So can we please back him now, please, and get behind the manager rather than just I don't know.
Like we were saying, guys, we're top of the league. And these guys are let's be honest, they're praying for us to drop points. There's some, like Mark said earlier on, there's people who have to delete drafts in their Twitter that are fuming.
Let me ask all of you, and let me ask everyone in the chat, if someone was pinpointing you and said you were doing a shit job and making it very, very in everyone's face, how would you feel? Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't happen. And you would do shit.
If you know you're doing a good job yourself, you can be happy in that. You could say
exactly.
As long as the players are happy and all like that. Like the whole thing we were discussing with Pogba over the many weeks, and we've kind of all come to the conclusion, if you want to leave, whatever, as long as he's giving his best, and he's giving his best right now, so who gives a fuck? And the players love him, the coaching staff love him. That's the most important thing. We can, to be honest, if we're just giving out, we can fucking do one ourselves. Because as long as they're all happy, that's all that matters. And James, you've been a wonderful young man sitting patiently in the corner. Look, every time James is on, we tend to go on a tangent right before we get to him. And he always sits there like the nicest little young man in the world. So Mr. Buddy Holly himself, basically, what are your thoughts on the hate? What are your thoughts on the defensive lineup that we're doing today? Just basically everything we were discussing there. Get your 2 cents in.
I think to start with Wan-Bissaka, I think his positioning sometimes is up for question, but I think he's getting a lot of unnecessary stick. I mean, you see, one-on-one, he's still probably the best defender in the league. Yes, he tucks in a little bit too much, but that might not be on him. That might be something that he's told to do. You know, we can't know for sure, and that's. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in and like tell me what else is wrong with his game, because all I can think of right now is his positioning, which is frustrating sometimes.
You're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, it's cost us a few goals, and it may have knocked us out of the Champions League. But you know, how do we even know that that's his problem? You know, it wasn't a problem last season. Maybe something's changed this season tactically, where he needs to tuck in, and maybe he's expecting to get support from his right winger, and he's just not, or whatever. So I think there's a bit of an overreaction about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. You know, he's dipping going forward as well. You know, we saw he's got a couple of goals and assists already this year, so that's a positive. But yeah, you know, the defence, I'm very much, I can't remember who said it now, so apologies. But realistically, out of Maguire, Lindelof, and Bailly, we're getting to a point where they're all playing pretty well now. I think we've settled down from that six. We've settled down from the 6-1 at Spurs, and now whoever you partner with Maguire, I think it depends game to game, but generally speaking, they do a pretty good job. You know, Lindelof was probably the better defender today. I remember he made that crucial block from a pullback that Salah was sat on the penalty spot waiting for. You know, he had the most clearances in the game. I think he had about 10, which is pretty massive for a defender, and it needed doing. And I don't know if Bailly would have been disciplined enough to stay with this Liverpool team. So I think he did himself a lot of favours with his performance. I think Bailly's done himself a lot of favours with his form this year. And, you know, I think Maguire is quietly going under the radar as still, in my opinion, our best defender. I just think it all depends on who you play next to him. But, yeah, just for the final position as well, then Luke Shaw is phenomenal, isn't it? At the minute, I don't want to say out and out, but been constant here. Right now, he's in the form of his career. I think be frustrated if you're Alex Telles currently. You know, the big move of your career, you get to join Manchester United, you're stuck behind some very slightly overweight left back who's been out of favour for 4 years. But you know, I think just to go off a tangent as well, I think Telles could be a rotation option in the fact that if Rashford or Martial get a little bit injured, we saw against PSG, he can put in a shift at left wing as well, can't he? So
yeah,
I think
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Especially with Cavani playing up front, you know, get him in positions to get balls in the box. So I think not all's lost for him, and I'm quite excited for the future. You know, we're top of the league, man. Come on, what is there to complain about?
Exactly, like James said, we're winning the league, and Luke Shaw's the best left back in the world. Kai, for yourself defensively, and well, basically, everything we covered there. What are your 2 cents on it?
Yeah, I agree mostly with the boys. Just a just a quick one on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think, yeah, definitely does get a lot of stick. And I mean, name me one very, 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 very good winger that has gone up against Wan-Bissaka and come out with his reputation better than it was before he came in. I don't think there's many. So I think that whole facet, I think people forget how much work he takes in order to perfect that type of a game. And also, I mean, where did the chance from Pogba come from? It also came from Wan-Bissaka being brave and driving forward. His only problem is obviously teams understand that you can't play him 1v1 because of his positioning. You have to play 1-2s around him. And if you saw there was this one weird phase of play, I think, with the whole defense and midfield. In fact, this was probably the midfield's fault. When from the left-hand side, when Robertson had the ball, he would play this one pass on the inside, which would swing on the outside. Now, Fred and McTominay kept on diving in on whatever ball it was, and then the centre-backs get pulled in further to the ball. And that kept on happening, and it kept on creating an overload on the right-hand side, which obviously Shaw was able to deal with well in some of the times. So I think defensively, that was a little bit suspect, and I think it comes from just, you know, on that right-hand side, we don't have a right winger. And when I say a right winger, I don't just mean an attacker, but I mean a kid or guy that's been born right wing. He knows how to play as a right wing. He understands. If you see the Dutch kids, because I you know, the guys will know I live in the Netherlands, and if you see how they cultivate wingers, here. It's incredible because they're so smart. So that's what I'm actually talking about more by a right winger, not just a guy who's just going to attack, but he knows that when they switch the ball, it's not going to fly over Wan-Bissaka's head all the time, and he has to, almost account for two positions, that there is someone standing there already by the halfway line, ready to collect so that we can, drive forward in our attacks. Because Wan-Bissaka has to make a lot of decisions. Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? Do I? Nah, I'm going to have to stay right now because no one's here. So he does a lot of work over there. And I think we just need a right winger who is going to help us in that. And with Lindelof, best 1v1, one of the best 1v1 defenders I think we have in the league, even statistically, as well, because he really does know how to read 1v1s. He really gets done for that. And I mean, even Maguire, I think he won all his battles as well. And we also maybe don't get that it's very, very difficult to play tight on your man if you've got Firmino and if you've got Mane and if you've got Salah. And I think a lot of the times when Maguire and Lindelof engage tight, they really were able to defend well in that. And I think that takes a lot of concentration. And the last one, which I will say, is I think we gave a lot of credit to Bailly for his last-minute tackle last week. I think we need to give credit to Harry Maguire for the fact that Firmino was going to score. Firmino was 100% tapping that in at the back post. And what probably Maguire failed to do the last time when he let the ball come across and he didn't react, he just kind of let it go. I think this time he actually engaged with it and he put his foot out and it worked. So I think defensively we were all right, but that midfield defensively was suspect that first 20 minutes. It was a little bit costly for us. So
yeah. Absolutely. And guys, everyone is tuning in. Thanks so much. I see Reese has joined us and Fred has joined us in the chat. Thanks so much, guys. It's always great to have you in here. Please, wherever you're watching, come over to YouTube, give a like to this video, and share the love and all like that. We're going into the last 10 or 15 minutes here of our chat of today's game, our victorious 0 draw at Anfield. We're going to be looking. We just covered the defense. We're going to be looking at the attack now. Across the board, which is basically Bruno, Pogba, Martial, Cavani when he came on, and anyone I'm forgetting? Did anyone else come on?
Martial.
I said Martial.
Greenwood.
Greenwood. Yeah, Greenwood made a cameo, which I thought was very interesting. The fact that what's his name went with it. Solskjaer went with, instead of just holding up, he actually did go for the win, which shows me, or at least to keep attacking, which shows me that he still has stuff going on. Someone's making a cameo in Carl's. Don't worry, we're focusing on Mark now. You can be a dad in the background. But Mark, what are your thoughts on us going forward? We did have our chances, which not everyone gets at Anfield. We didn't take them, but the overall play, were you happy or were you a little bit frustrated? That's where it fell apart.
I think this was the big problem for both teams today. I felt that pushing the ball forward was not our best point. I thought Martial, I was really hoping he was going to get a bit more confidence after he scored a couple of goals. And I know it's more about, for him being a link-up forward, it's more than just scoring. But as I said earlier, other than a wonderful take on he did against three players, he didn't offer anything today. I said earlier that Rashford probably needs a bit of a rest. Everyone forgets that he's 23. He plays every minute pretty much of every game, and he's got the weight on his shoulders. And I feel like he could do with maybe a game out, perhaps against Fulham. But again, he's going to create you more than Martial. I sometimes think. I think he can be more of a game changer than Martial. This is not a slander to Martial. I absolutely love him. But today he just didn't really offer much. I said I agree with Carl. We said it earlier. Cavani should have started, and I said this. I feel that when you are playing a defence, Fabinho not included, but Henderson. Yeah, defensively he is good, but he is not a centre-back. That's a completely different kettle of fish. And you have someone like Cavani to really go at them. I was really shocked to see him out. And I think it showed as soon as he came on, there was a little bit more danger there. Pogba was played completely out of position today. I would have... on the right-hand side, I've already said this, and I feel that if he was played on the left, we would have got more out of him to begin with. He actually had a very good game, but I think we would have seen a lot more attacking flair from him. And I think this is what everyone thinks Pogba is, and that's why we've seen more of him since he's been playing on the left-hand side of the front three recently, because he's been that flair player that everyone's been asking for. When you play further back in the midfield, you're not going to get the numbers that everyone's expecting. So yeah, that was a problem for me. We didn't get the ball forward quick enough. McTominay, whilst he's good working with Fred and obviously holding up the defence, and they did a good job from that perspective, he does not push it forward enough for me, and that was quite evident. Greenwood came on. I don't know if he really did much. No, I can't really remember what he did.
5
if I'm honest, and
minutes
that's no criticism to him. But I think that again, Rashford on the right is not particularly great. He can't cut inside on the right-hand side, but he can still take players on the left and then cut inside onto his right. So he's far better on the left-hand side. Yeah. So if you're going to not play Cavani, I'm not quite sure, even though Martial's not a number 9, why he didn't play in the number 9 position. So I think that was really the only problem for Ollie today, is I don't think he really played those front three in the correct positions.
Yeah.
And as I said, it was a problem for Liverpool too. I think Mane was completely out of the game, and Salah made 1 or 2 things, but Shaw was brilliant against him. So that's all I've got really. But fair. They need to be better at the front.
Yeah, and it's been that way for a little while now. We haven't been getting the goals. We've been winning by 1 or 2, which isn't enough, especially the teams we were playing. Oliver, you've got a little grin on your face, so what's coming?
Always, mate, always. Well, I mean, it was a bit of an odd one today, wasn't it? Martial not playing number 9. I don't know whether that's a lack of confidence or a game plan. I think Rashford, as we could all see, it was there to just break against what looked like a slow defence. But I think Cavani was missed, especially, as we saw, Fabinho was brilliant in what he was doing today, his decision-making and his covering when there was that 2-on-1 against him. He sort of ushered, like Van Dijk used to do when he was fit, before he passed away. But yeah, I mean, Cavani could have been there to drag him about and then get the exposure on Henderson, which I think we could have got at today. But as I said, as we said earlier, Bruno and Pogba getting those balls that inch more perfect, we could have had something out of it. So I think you have to say, if we were, disappointed that we didn't get a win and we looked to go for it, maybe subs a little bit earlier, so they had more of an impact. I mean, Greenwood struggling to get minutes when Martial, I think his link-up play kept him on the pitch, his link-up play with Rashford, because they were getting out of tight spaces and making stuff happen. I mean, Fred was getting involved. But yeah, for me, I think Greenwood deserved a little bit more time, considering, yes, there was a work ethic, but there wasn't really anything coming off it. So, yeah, I mean, you can take what you want from it. I thought positives to take today, but Greenwood probably should have had a few more minutes. Maybe gone on the right, put Rashford on the left, gone a bit more attacking. It was more 3 people trying to service Rashford in behind, and that whole game was a little bit boring for me. Don't know what you guys thought, but yeah, maybe changed it a bit earlier.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. And everyone's smirking because they think my mic is going thing, but it's not my mic. I'm telling you, it's not my mic.
Well, we can hear the noises again now, and you've unmuted yourself.
Well, I can't hear anything.
The odd one out.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, that's the thing, that Joe, if you can't hear the noise, mate, it's you.
No. I'm going to somehow try and blame someone else. It's James's fault. He's been too quiet. All right, Noah, we will go to you now. How do you think we did attacking wise? We created a lot of chances, but we didn't put any away. Is this becoming a consistent problem for you, or is it just a bad day at the office?
Yeah, I think the attack was as dodgy as your mic, Joe, to be honest. But no, I mean, it was just really weird. It just didn't look normal or comfortable for anyone apart from, I'd say, Martial. But, because, I mean, Bruno was off it. I don't know really why. Maybe he needs another rest against Fulham. I'm not too sure about that. But he was off the pace. He wasn't being as creative as he was. And when he was trying to play the risky through balls that we usually do, know and love, they weren't coming off. Henderson and Fabinho were reading them. So that was a problem. That wasn't particularly great. Rashford on either at centre forward on the right, I don't like it at all. As Mark said, he put it perfectly. Rashford's not a natural winger that can put a beautiful ball in into the box on either his left or right foot. He's someone like Frank Ribery or Ian Robben who likes to cut inside and have a dig. And he can only really do that on the left. So I don't know why he was moved up top because as well, I don't think he's a natural centre forward, especially not on his own. I think he can work in the two, but definitely not on his own. So that was a problem. Pogba on the right. I mean, I don't know. I support Solskjaer for putting Lindelof in and stuff like that because that worked, but the attacking positioning wasn't great today. And I don't think it was any of the players' fault. I think it was more what Ollie was trying to do and trying to kind of counter what Liverpool could do, I think, instead of being proactive and taking charge of the game, because I personally feel like whilst Cavani has sometimes been more proactive off the bench as a substitute, I feel like he definitely should have started because the movement inside the box from the likes of Rashford and Martial was not existent at all. And, to win big games, you need a striker to make something out of nothing for me. And Cavani does that. So I feel like if he would have had more time, even just bringing on at halftime, to be honest, would have been better. Greenwood should have been on in the 50th, 60th minute. I don't know why he's giving him 4 minutes. I don't know why he's going to think that's going to make... I don't know why he thinks it's going to make a difference, because it's not. I mean, we're going up the north to Liverpool. I know it's not far from Manchester, but it's still freezing cold, and you're giving him 4 minutes to just... 4 minutes is just going to get him warmed up, and then, the referee's blowing his whistle. I don't understand it, and that's the only criticism I have of Solskjaer tonight is, not being active with the substitutions again, because I do feel, my heart, if I'm talking like that, that we should have got the 3 points, and I feel like if he was a bit more proactive with substitutions and a bit more, he played the players in a bit more of a natural position, I feel like we could have really tested them and created, 5-6 big chances, which, we know with Manchester United, the more chances we create, the more chances we're going to score, because we've got so many clinical players all around the pitch. But yeah, I don't know. It was just looked really makeshift and uncomfortable tonight.
I'm going to just interject. Sorry, Noah.
That's fine.
I just feel I don't criticise Ollie at all today. Even with the substitutions, I think if you're against Liverpool at Anfield, who weren't great with the front three today, you don't take those risks, and I am not surprised to see Greenwood on until the 85th minute. I think if you'd have brought him on earlier, that would have then given us less chance to defend a goal going against us. And I feel that maybe Van der Beek could have been something we would have used, but I think that if Pogba had been more clinical, slightly to the left, slightly to the right, or slightly above, we wouldn't have been talking about this. And the same with Bruno too. I think he had to really make sure that we weren't going to concede, and that's why we didn't see Greenwood until the 85th. And actually, other than maybe that, as I said, those front three not starting in the correct positions, I don't think he did a lot wrong today. I think he was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do agree. It was more just, sorry, I probably shouldn't have said Bruno and stuff. I more meant the front three. I don't know. I just don't like the fact that Ollie's kind of playing players in positions that they're not comfortable with, especially when it's a big game. You can do that against Burnley and Fulham, try out different players in different roles and see if they're comfortable there. But against Liverpool, I don't know, you want to play your strongest 11, and you're going to want to play them where they're comfortable and where they, they know how to play, rather than learning on the job, if you will. I don't know. It just didn't work out tonight. Yeah, I know. I do understand that you have to accommodate for Liverpool, because obviously they are a good team and they have plenty of good players. It's just in the second half, when we were taking charge of the game, I just would have liked to see him a bit more proactive. I think that's the best way.
That's fair. Carol, for yourself, we were discussing a little bit Pogba on the right side. How did you feel he did today? Because he didn't last too long there, about 25 minutes before they changed things up. And as well as that, something we haven't talked about yet, Bruno had a little bit of a strop when he was being taken off. I don't know if that sort of thing is something we should be concerned about, because he is very hot-headed, which has led to him get a couple of yellow cards here, there, and everywhere, and could become a problem down the road, especially if you believe that story about him flipping out. Was the semi-final in Sevilla? No, it wasn't in Sevilla.
No, Tottenham. Was it Tottenham?
No, Tottenham. It was debunked. It didn't happen.
No, a different thing where he flipped out at, I think it was, I can't remember when it was, but it wasn't that game. It was Liverpool.
Oh, was it in the Europa? Oh, yeah. Right.
But just general's hot-headedness, is that something you like to see in a footballer? And Pogba today, how do you feel? First of all, where he started and how he ended.
Yeah, no, Pogba obviously off the right is not ideal. I think the commentary team said on the game, like, you can't be shoehorning players into positions just because they're playing well. I think you either play Pogba centrally or not at all. You can't just put him out on the left or the right and expect him to do the job. Because like you said at the start of the show, like, he was ended up at right back at some point in the game, and it's not where you want to pull Pogba or an informed Paul Pogba anyway. So I think honestly, I don't think we needed Fred and McTominay today. I think you could have probably sacrificed one of them and played Pogba there.
McTominay.
Yeah, it would have always been McTominay, mate, for me. But even because you get so much more out of him in central midfield, obviously, because that's where he plays. But yeah, I don't want to see us. I don't want to see us forcing players in, because one, it just doesn't work. The balance of the team will be all wrong, and you're not getting the best out of your best players then, essentially. So yeah, I don't like the way he was just sort of shoved in. I thought when the team came out, I thought it might be like a little bit of a diamond shape, and then play him as a 2, and then Bruno as a 10, really. But that obviously didn't suffice, and he became as a wide man. But yeah, no, I don't want to be seeing that moving forward, because it's just not good all round for the team. And down to Bruno's hot-headedness, I think it's Marvin. I love that shit, mate. I love Brandon Williams. I love Eric Bailly. I love everyone that's got really angry. Like, anyone that's would rather stay on the pitch, even though he's had a bad game, and try and win a game and stuff, then I'm all for that, mate. Obviously, it has to be managed, and you can't be like bowling around, undermining the manager, and etc. But I don't mind a paddy coming off, mate. If you're desperate to play, you're desperate to win the game. I just think it's a winning mentality. It's a mentality that we need, and it's a mentality that we've lacked for so many years. There's not really been many players in years gone. Well, these years gone by since Fergie left, where we've had sort of someone. In a team, like, you look at Vidic. Vidic used to fucking shout and go and moan. Rio was another one. Do you know what I mean? You go looking further back, Roy Keane, even people like Wayne Rooney, mate. Wayne Rooney was the worst one for it, and look what he did. So I don't see a problem. I see people having a moan like, oh, that's not what we need. He's shit. Fucking. Blah blah blah. Like, he had a bad game. It doesn't give him the right to moan. He's probably lost his head because he's been poor, and he knows he's been poor, and he's trying to prove himself. But I'm all for it, mate. Anyone that shows a little bit about himself, mate, then I'm all for that.
Yeah,
there's another Portuguese lad who used to also do exactly that same type of thing.
Yeah,
Pepe.
He's done all right.
Yeah.
Pepe wishes. Pepe wishes.
He still throws a tantrum to this day when it doesn't go his way. So I mean, and he's one of the greatest. So I think
that's fair. That's more than fair.
Yeah, no, Carl made a really good point about Rooney, because obviously Rooney's recently retired, and I agree he does really well at Derby and everything like that. But I was watching some old goals of his, because he was my favorite player growing up, and one of the best goals he's ever scored is literally when he was having to go at the ref
Newcastle,
for a foul.
yeah.
And he hits that volley, and I think aggression is something, that a lot of players don't utilize enough. For me, I think, one of the best strikers in the league for the past couple of years have been Jamie Vardy, and he thrives on aggression. And, because, well, as I was saying, strikers need to make something out of nothing. And, if a striker makes a battle with a defender, I think there's nothing wrong with that, and it's good.
Absolutely, Noah. I'm going to stop because Mark put a very funny comment into the private chat. Another tangent is beginning. Poor James.
Oh,
so I'm just going to
sorry. I'm mute. You know
what? Don't you have a strap now as well? James, over to yourself. Attacking wise, are you frustrated with how it went? Are you happy enough? Do you see changes coming?
Well, it's a good job I like listening to you lot, isn't it? But I think it's very easy to forget with Martial and Rashford that they're not in their prime yet, are they? You know, Martial 25, Rashford 23. There's still we get lulled into this sort of sense that players should be in their prime by 21 because you've got players like Mbappe and Haaland now that are doing ridiculous things at a young age. But realistically, these two are both still young. You know, they're not in their prime. They will get better. You know, Rashford is frustrating at the minute because, you know, there's a bit of missed time in his run, a bit of poor decision making. But you can tell there's a quality player there. He just needs to get a few little bits out of his game, and we'll hopefully have a world beater. And Martial, we've already seen he's got that quality. He's just very much a confidence-based player. He's clearly not in confidence at the minute. He didn't have much confidence under Mourinho either. But, you know, you saw last season when he was playing with confidence, he got like 20 goals in the league. So, you know, he's another quality player. But I think Rashford and Bruno as well, there's some complaints about them recently. But you've got to remember, these players are literally running on fumes at this point. They must be exhausted. You know, they're two of our most frequently used players. They don't get a rest when they need it. And, you know, it's not necessarily that they're poor or that they're being found out. They're just genuinely unable to perform to their best because they're exhausted. I think you've got a game in Fulham where Bruno and Rashford should definitely be rested, in my opinion. You've got Van der Beek as an adequate replacement. You can bring Greenwood in for Rashford and then put Martial out on the left again. But yeah, it all makes sense to just give him a bit of a rest. I think it's just a frustrating one, isn't it? I thought Pogba was, to say how out of position he was played, he was very good. I thought he showed that attack intent that we want from him. He was arriving late into the box, and we saw that with the chance that he missed. He's getting in some good positions. He picked out a lot of good cross-field switches, which really opened the game up, and that we probably should have done better with. Sorry, but yeah, I'm not too disappointed. Obviously, it's sloppy. I'd like to see Cavani played more because I've been impressed by him every time he comes on. But you've just got to manage him as well, haven't you, with his age and injury record? But yeah, it's a frustrating night for the attackers, but it's one that you sort of expect given the circumstances. You know, Rashford and Fernandes running on fumes. Obviously, they've gone out their way to mark Bruno out of the game as well. A lot of teams are doing that now, and he's still most of the time finding a way to get through it. But yeah, I think, you know, it's not all bad. I think we're seeing a lot of outcry on social media against Rashford at the minute that his performances have dropped and everything. And I think you give him a rest against Fulham, maybe leave him out of the FA Cup game as well if you feel it's necessary. And I think we'll have that player on our hands again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were actually forgetting, I completely forgot, like once Cavani came on, I felt our game completely changed. I thought we felt a lot more confident going forward and made a lot more opportunities. Even with him, even if he's not directly involved with the play that's happening, just his movement off the ball is exceptional.
I see a lot of comments about Cavani being an impact sub. Definitely not. He was 500 goals for PSG and Napoli. He's 33. He's only a year older than me. Makes me feel old otherwise. You know, he can still do a lot. And as soon as he came on at 60 minutes, he was brilliant. And he's not an impact sub. I think he needs to start a bit more, to be honest, and push both Martial and Rashford, give him a kick up the arse.
That's fair. Absolutely. Kai, for yourself, should Cavani be starting more? Did he do enough today when he came on to really show that he's your number one?
Yeah, Cavani's my guy, El Matador. So I always would rather have the actual world-class guy always start over anyone else. So because thing is, he does so many little things, and people always say hold-up play or some weird stuff, but that's all nonsense because his touches are brilliant. There's this one touch which he just did, this little flick, ball coming in the air, and kept the ball for us moving. It's things like that which we don't see enough strikers doing. So I think in terms of also how hard he works, he's probably one of the most humble guys I've seen. You don't get world-class guys like that who actually work hard for the team, who don't look disinterested when they don't have the ball. Because I think this is the first time Cavani's been in a situation where he can. It's entirely possible to play a full game without seeing one chance. You know, so I think his humility is going to be very, very important in how our youngsters progress and how we progress as a team anyways, because he's going to have to be patient. It's not PSG. It's not 5,000 chances a game, you know. So I think and one little thing which I might be wrong, but someone maybe can correct me. But when Zlatan came, what was Martial's form afterwards for that short time versus kind of like now when Cavani's come in? Because it seems like whenever he has some sort of competition waiting for him there, it takes a while for him to get over it or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just it's a bit of a stretch. But another thing which I also wanted to say about Pogba is I think he was also played there not specifically for the defensive side, because I saw that's everything that Sky was showing, or I don't know, whatever TV station was showing the game. But the only thing they were showing was what Pogba was doing defensively wrong. And you can clearly see it was because he wasn't on the right-hand side for specifically that. And a lot of the times he was out ball because Liverpool were pressing really, really well. So a lot of the times the ball had to come over the top. Who's the one guy who is tall? There is only one player probably in the world who is an attacking mid in the body of a center defensive mid who can bring it down on his chest, hit it out, because we played a lot of those long balls. So I think it was to relieve a lot of pressure as well from our teams and maybe exploit Bruno's movement into space to pick up the second balls or whatever. So I think there were other reasons why Pogba played there. That's why I was saying maybe it was a bit of a tactical decision. And the one thing which refers to Cavani, like I was saying before about not getting chances, I think we really need to take care of the ball the moment that an attack doesn't work, because we don't sustain the attacks too much, and that's normally because of our midfielders who can't keep the ball a lot. So every time we attack, we go. Maybe it's a bad cross, maybe the cross hits the first man. The ball always comes all the way back, too far back, instead of someone who is stepping up into midfield, grabbing the ball and saying, let's go again, recycle. And that's something which someone like Thomas Partey, if you had just stuck him in our midfield, we'll be done right now. Like, we wouldn't be having any conversations if he was a fit guy who was in there. So I think our chance creation and our ball retention in those areas, that final third, will increase. Again, like you said, lads, with the defensive mid. I think that is defense mid and a right winger is the only way which we're going to see the full attacking force that we think we have as a team, and see that chance creation for Cavani as well. But he's got to start. It's Al Matador, genuine world-class player. You don't put him on the bench.
Joe, you're muted,
Oh,
brother.
bloody hell. What is going on with your hosting today, man? First the mic and then this.
Okay. Oh, Joe. Oh, his mic's not broken. Then it turned on. All right. So I'm trying to make a point, but thank you very much for pointing it out, guys. I know there's a bit of chat going on that we're not interacting like properly with people in the chat. Guys, there's 8 people on. It's impossible. I have to make sure everyone here has a voice that's actually showing their face on this channel before I actually can read out anyone's chats. I'm showing as many as I can that are making good points. And some that aren't. So that's the best I can do. If you join us at literally any other of our shows that you're on every single day, we're far more interactive, but I can only do what's humanly possible. And although most women think I'm a god, I'm not actually one. So for final points, anyone got anything they want to say before we finish up the show?
Yeah.
I got one on Bruno, has to be said. So I think people make a lot about this. Is it a worry if Bruno's too passionate? I think obviously every time anything happens that a United player does that's not quite positive, it's hounded on by the press. But if you'll notice today, Bruno grabbing Paul Pogba, who's a lot bigger than him, off the floor and screaming at him, right, come on, stop moping around, you missed a shot, let's get on and win this game. That, for me, is the passion that we should want all of our players to have. I mean, obviously, go on, Kai.
He's bought our silence. He's done enough for a while.
Exactly.
It's
it's not a tantrum, is it?
Complain.
if he thinks he can still have an impact in a game when he's getting subbed off, McTominay was injured at the time,
and
A, it wasted 2 minutes, and B, he can do that. Out of nothing, he can score a winner.
But
or get a penalty.
He was also waiting for McTominay, I think, because he didn't want to get off the field when Liverpool had to play, and then they would have less men or something. So I think he was looking at if McTominay was still injured.
Well, it was whether or not McTominay was going to go off instead, wasn't it? But as we say,
something like that.
Good game management.
Yeah, absolutely. Carol, do you have a comment to make before? I think you said that as well.
No, I was going to make a shit joke about your mic, but the time's gone now.
That will do.
That'll do. Okay, that will finish us for this evening, guys. Thanks so much for everyone who joined us in the comments. Please make sure to like the video. Please, I'm going to put up a tweet where you can find everyone on their social medias. Please make sure to like, follow the guys, and show them all the love. Because taking the time out of the busy schedule to do this for free, and it's always appreciated. Thanks so much for joining us again. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow evening with the preview for the Fulham game, and then we have a full week of roundup. We're playing the Scouts again this day next week, so you'll be seeing us again this day next week. Up the lads, and we'll see you then. Thanks very much for joining us.
Lads.
Bye.